Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim, and today I'm continuing my playthrough of Normandy 44. We are up to turn 21, the penultimate turn, June 26th, 1944. Oops, knocking some stuff over here. On this day in history, Fortress Cherbourg surrenders. Doesn't look like that's probably going to happen quite yet, if at all, in this game. Also, Operation Epsom begins. I had to look up what that was, but basically it was the the British offensive to attempt to surround and capture Caen, which basically we've kind of already started doing. Apparently it was unsuccessful, and looks like our Operation Epsom may likewise be unsuccessful, since we're going to run out of time. Anyway, let's get on with the action. The Germans are really hoping and praying for some bad weather here, because they need to... basically, they're facing a situation where they have to reestablish supply from the peninsula back to the southern map edge, or else they're going to lose. Because as of last turn, the Allies finally managed to cut the peninsula, which means all of these towns north of the historical progress line, and including the ones in the Cherbourg perimeter, no longer count as German victory points for the in-game victory conditions. So as it stands right now, the Allies are in a winning position. All they have to do is basically maintain what they have. I think they can even afford to give some up if that should happen, as long as they can maintain this peninsula being cut. So the Germans pretty much have to focus all their efforts onto breaking back through along here somewhere. And in order to do that, I think they're really going to need to have some overcast weather so that they're not suffering all of the penalties of the clear weather. All right, well, let's find out if that's going to happen. So we'll do our weather roll. They're obviously hoping for a 2 or a 3. 1 will get re-rolled. And nope. It gets even better than it was last turn. Clear 5. All right, so that means, excuse me, clear 5. They get 1 improved position. Pull that marker out. You can have it available. They get, let me straighten this camera up a little bit here. 1 supply point. I think definitely want to give that to 7th Army. Although, I guess if they're going to focus over here, well, 7th Army can still supply these headquarters over here. It can't supply any headquarters up here that are assisting. Which, speaking of which, what do they have? The only headquarters that's going to be able to support attacks in this area for this turn anyway is this 1st SS headquarters here on this hilltop. I think the next closest one is this one in St. Lo. I don't have any along here. So do we want to give them another one to Cherbourg? I guess what's the potential concern over here? We They did manage to dislodge us from over here last turn, pushing toward Lizo. Liso, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that poorly, as well as this town down here. Just hate to leave them with nothing over here in case they need it, but by the same token, we're going to need to try to smash through over here somewhere. Of course, they're not going to be able to mount 3 attacks over here, so yeah, we'll go ahead and give that one to 7th Army, I guess. Okay, for infantry replacements, they get 1, but it has to be used on a 0 or -1 troop quality unit. So our convention is to rotate it 90 degrees to indicate that. 180 if it were the -1 result. So that's all they get for replacements. Then the Americans get 1 of each. Again, they're replete with infantry replacements. I can't even spend them all. We'll give them another one. The British get an infantry replacement this time, which is nice because they've got, they've got 3 total units in the cadre display. Only 2 that can actually bring back out, though. So they'll probably use that to bring one of those back this turn. So they are not at risk of an auto loss. And then the biggie is all 3 air support markers this time. Of course, our naval support is available, but as I've said many times, and y'all are probably getting tired of hearing me say it, the naval support is useless at this point in the game. All right, so we get all of those. That's good for the Allies, bad for the Germans. And yes, on supply points, so 2 each. Because they have their mulberries. And of course, replacement points are available, and those can be spent for more supply points if they wish. All right. Then we need to possibly do some readying of in-supply headquarters and Werfer brigades. We didn't use the Werfer brigades last turn, did we? If we forgot about them or just didn't need to. I don't think you can use them on defense, though. And we opted not to do any attacks last turn because of the clear weather. Unfortunately, this turn, I think we're going to have to, no matter what. I mean, they do get a maximum of +1 defensive support for determined defenses. I don't remember if you can use Werfer brigades for that or not. Perhaps they can. Would potentially save some supply points. Yeah, actually, they can be used for defensive, determined defense. So probably should have done that last turn to conserve some supply points. So that was a mistake. Not a rules mistake, but an overlooked opportunity, I guess. All right, but do we have any headquarters that moved They need to be flipped back. I don't think so. I think they all only moved one hex. If they moved at all, I don't see any that are flipped over. All right, so that's going to take us to the German replacement phase. So they get their one zero or -1 troop quality unit that can take a replacement, infantry replacement. So let's see, probably I'll focus over here if possible. That one's -1, so it can't. Excuse me. Let's see, what do we got here? That's just a one-stepper. So these are both -1s. It's an armor unit. That's a +1, so he can't take it. Looks like that's a +1. Looks like nothing on that side. Of course, we can always bring an eliminated unit back as well. There's a couple that could. But what I'm thinking, make sure this gets back where it belongs. +1, so he can't take it. I think all of these are high quality units that we have in con. Kind of being wasted, to be honest, but it's an armor, so can't go there. That's a +1. That's an armor. There's one that could, but again, I don't think that's really that crucial here. They don't have much to bring against us at the moment anyway. So, oops, that's a flak unit, so it can't take replacements. And I don't know why I'm bothering checking these. They're disrupted, so they can't. Those are both full strength. Okay, so looks like either one of these units in here or a unit in there, or we bring something back from the dead pile. I'm thinking that's probably what we want to do, because I think we're going to want to get some more forces in over here. Now, unfortunately, all of our reinforcements that we're getting are coming in the yellow reinforcement areas, which I guess technically we could sneak some by here, but they're not going to get very far because they can't follow the road. If they follow the road, they got to stop there. But yeah, they're all slotted to come in here. Now the two that are coming in this turn, we could delay and have them come in here next turn instead, which might not be a bad idea. But unfortunately, all these big units that are coming in on the final turn aren't going to be able to help us much at all, really, on this to help resolve that situation. Now, one thing I was thinking, and the Allies might need to do something about this to prevent this, is because there's so many of those units, and a couple of them are really big boys too. They could come in through here and start wreaking some havoc behind their lines here, taking back some of these towns and cutting some of these guys off from supply, but probably a case of too little too late. But it might still be something we want to potentially address as the Allies to kind of close this gap up a little bit. Yeah. What we're going to end up needing to do here, I think, is probably try to go after and recapture Lasay here, which will reopen our supply lines to the peninsula. So we're going to need to bring a bunch against this stack and hope. Now we are going to get a troop quality shift at least from these guys and these guys. Yeah, I'm thinking bringing these two stacks in to attack there and hopefully push them out. But I'm just thinking we probably need to, this is vulnerable here. Of course, the allies are vulnerable here. We're going to try to mount a counterattack here, I believe. Which they might need more than this to do it. 6, 10 against 7. I guess these guys could slide down and help. Although, are these the same? No, they're not even from the same division. So we're going to have some halving involved here too. Yeah, these are 4 different divisions. 5 different divisions. 6 different divisions. How about that? Talk about your hodgepodge. Because ideally, if we could get to 14, we could get a 2-to-1 against them. These guys would give us a troop quality shift. And we'd have an armor shift with these guys. But yeah, I'm just thinking if we mass here, we're probably going to need to, we may need to split one of these guys off at least to help out. Help try to hold that position. Yeah, so what I'm getting at is I think we bring a unit back from the dead pile and bring them in like either here or here. They have to come into a town or city. And they have to be within 5 hexes of a unit from their division, I believe. And they can't be adjacent to an enemy. Or at least not in an EZOC. And friendly units do not negate that, if I'm remembering all of this correctly. Let me just double check real quick. Yep, must be in supply. Cannot be in an EZOC, even if a friendly combat unit occupies that hex, and must be within 5 hexes of another unit from its division that was on the map at the start of the phase. But that does not apply to non-divisional units. So if we have a non-divisional unit, we could bring it back pretty much wherever we want. But it does have to be in a, I think it's either a town, a city, or a friendly headquarters. So let's see what our options here are. I think we're going to ideally want a 0 quality as opposed to a -1. Looks like we've got a couple units here from the 352nd that qualify. Here's one from, I saw that ST was one of the divisions involved up here, I think. Yep. And was the 352nd one as well? No. So this one's definitely eligible. I don't believe these two are because of the divisional restrictions. Unless there's something in St. Lo here. Yeah. I don't remember where the 352nd, I think they were up in the peninsula maybe. If there's even any of them left on the map. Let's see, we got this, he's a -1, I wouldn't even want to consider that. He's a non-divisional security force. Here's another one from the 352nd. Yeah, they may be all in the dead pile here. All these others are -1s. Yep, another one. Here's one from the 346th, but I don't think that one's near here either. Nope. These are Panzer layer, yeah. All right, so looking like this guy's the winner. So he will come in here. One hex, no combats though, so that's the bad thing. So we can't move him into that hex quite yet, or they won't be able to attack. But that way at least we'll be able to, if one or both of these units move out of here, we'll have somebody to kind of take their place next turn if needed. All right, so that's their replacement spent. Now we go to the German movement phase. We do have the one entrenching marker that we can place. I think the one we placed last turn we got pushed back, so there's not one that we can flip over this turn. Yeah, so let's start here, I guess. Like I said, I think we want to go here with these guys, and here with these. Oh, we don't need the headquarters necessarily. Let's push them up into there. Although, we probably don't want to leave them by themselves either. So I guess they will come along. Now, do we want to start bringing some of this down as well, in case we need to do this again next turn? I think we probably do. I hate to yield this ground, but I think we go 1, 2, 3 to here. Oh, that's right on the split in the board. Do we hold that town? Problem is, we risk being surrounded there. I mean, in all reality, this town isn't going to make a difference if we don't get this supply line to the peninsula reestablished. Although, ooh, they're kind of weak there too. 4, 5, 6, 7, but we got not much. It would be 1 to 1. No troop quality, no armor. And if we fall back to here, we're behind the flooded river there. at this point in the game, I think I'm okay with just leaving them there to try to hold that. Not really anything to do up in here other than hope that maybe we rebalance some of this. What do we got here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus the city. And only 3 here. So maybe we give these guys, and I'll take them down to 4, 5. That'll give them each 5, plus the town is 10. And let's do that. That way they at least can't get 2-to-1 base odds on either of those. Down here, so we need to help these guys out a little, I think. We want to smash this unit, force them to try to have to shift some stuff around to deal with that, I think. So let's see what we can do here. Ideally, we'd like to get to 14. The problem is we need this unit and this unit stacked together. So that we get both of those shifts. So we make this guy the main assault force with this unit attached. So that's a total of 9. These guys get halved. 10, 11. 12, 13, 14, 15. Unfortunately, we need both of them if we're gonna get an initial odds of 2-to-1. I don't think we can do that though, so we might as well have actually, can we do the attack from here? The problem is if we're here, then that opens this wide open for them to get through. I think they kind of need to stay in this spot. So that's going to give them 9, 10, 11 on 7, but with 2 shifts. So it'll be a 3-to-1 attack, even without support. So yeah, I think we take these guys. Oh, they can't reach there, darn it. Wait, maybe, no. Because it's 2 to get to there. We needed that road to go this way. I mean, they can pull back, I guess. Yeah, I think that's what we got to do. So I think we move these guys to here. He falls back on top of them. Well, underneath them, because they're not disrupted, only he is. Yeah, I think we got to do that, unfortunately, which breaks that Zoc bond. But they can't move into here anyway. They'd have to stop here or there. So at least for the time being, we're okay. Yeah, we do it. We hit them, even though we're going to have to roll on the Jabos table, unfortunately. And we're definitely hitting this one. We need those Werfer brigades over here now. All right, along here, I don't think we do anything. We just kind of keep holding the line here. Unless we wanted to get up into their face here, maybe to just in preparation for maybe doing some shenanigans next turn with those reinforcements. Speaking of reinforcements, those come in now. So these are what we get for this turn. Yeah, I'm really thinking we need to delay them so they can come in. But the thing is, are they going to be able to do anything next turn? They're not going to be able to get, unless we have overcast weather. Let's see, if we had overcast, they could use these major roads as 3. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They would be able to get into the action if the weather's overcast. If not, then they're going to have to stop short. I think this was as far as they got with strategic movement last turn, because they'll be reduced to 3 movement points then. I mean, if we did bring them in over here, I mean, we could start to do some stuff behind here. Let's see, they can't cross the major river unless they start next to it. So they'd have to go like 1, 2, 3. I mean, we could move them up into here, force the Allies to respond to that. Either cut the supply, which actually they're within 5 hexes of a entry point anyway. They'd have to probably move somebody back to here. And then get somebody over in this region here too. Probably there. Block those roads. Even then, though, they can go, because they can, if these guys moved away, it would open this up. They could get supply back through that way. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what else they're going to be good for, so maybe just try to pull some shenanigans here in their rear area. Just to force them to respond to that. Sure, why not? Yeah, we'll do that. See if we can teach them a lesson for leaving that big gap open there. Over here, we still can't get anything into these hexes. We just have to kind of try to rely on them holding out there. We could move into there, but that kind of opens this up to them to be able to sneak through there. So think we kind of have to hold where we're at. Got nice Zoc bonds all the way up to here, and then we got the big flooded area here, kind of keeping them at bay from moving through that area. Do we need to do anything over here to try to stop them from exploiting this further? I don't think so. I think that's probably as good a place to be as any. I mean, I guess we could technically move into there. Zoc bond, Zoc bond. I think disrupted units can still end their move in a Zoc. I think their only restriction is we can only use tactical movement. Yeah, that's really their only movement restriction. So I guess we could move up into there just to kind of reform that line there with the map edge. And if they do hit us again and make us retreat, we can just I guess we fall back to there, actually, because if we go to there, they could start advancing toward Cambremer. Yeah, I think that's fine. So then the last question is, where do we want to start an improved position? Maybe there. These guys can't. These guys can't. They moved too far. Or move. I can't remember if. I think you can't move at all. Or at most one hex. I guess theoretically this guy could. I don't know if a replacement marker prevents you from being able to start an improved position. It might. Don't really need one in a city hex. I guess this is a possibility. Anywhere along here is a possibility. Except these guys moved. I think it's you can't move at all. Pretty sure. I don't know. I don't know that any of these spots are really going to be that critical. Like I said, they're pretty much entirely concerned with reestablishing supply with the peninsula at this point, so let's put it here, I guess. All right, that's gonna. And I don't think there's any reserve movement or reserve combat that we need to be concerned with. Get these guys all straightened up. That moved. All right, and that will take us to German combat phase. So I think we're just going to have 2 combats here for the Germans. Let's go ahead and do this crucial one first. So they've got 12, 13, plus they're in a town, makes 17. not all of us are attacking across a river, so there's no penalty for that. This will be the main assault force. I think we can just get to 17 to make it 1-to-1, fortunately. So this, with this guy attached, makes 12. These are all halved. 13. Half of 8 is 4 for our 17. No tank shift, but we will get elite or troop quality shift to make it 2-to-1. And then we will, the only headquarters in range is this one, and it under here, and it will have to draw from Fortress Cherbourg, so we'll use a point from there. That'll bump it to 3-to-1. And I believe that's the best we can do. So 3-to-1. 3. That's only a DR. We could attempt a determined defense, making, probably want to use this guy as the lead unit. So we don't want to risk taking a step on one of those infantry units. And we should be able to get, are we close enough for support from there? 5. We are not. Ugh, yikes. So it looks like it's just going to be a straight roll. We're in town, which is going to be on the other column. So we'll need a 5 or 6 to stop it. I think we might as well try. We don't want them retaking that. Nope. So we do have to retreat. We can do, well, to show you. Yikes. How's this gonna work? We need to check and see if we're allowed to end our retreat in an EZOC. If we go back either direction here, I don't think you can stop a 1-hex retreat in an EZOC. If we go this way, we'd be overstacked. Although I think you can just continue retreating then, in that case. If we go here or here, we end in an EZOC. We could theoretically go here or here without ending in an EZOC, not really where we want to go. Or I guess we could do a 1-hex retreat to here. Or we could go here or here and not end in an EZOC. So let me see what all my retreat restrictions are here real quick. Yeah, so it says that we cannot end. So there's a few things here. So if possible, we have to avoid entering a vacant hex in an EZOC. So, I mean, technically that is possible if we go this way. So I think that's our only choice, unfortunately. It does say it may enter a vacant hex in an EZOC. If not possible, the first hex may enter a vacant hex in an EZOC as long as it does not cross or enter an enemy ZOC bond. But then all subsequent hexes must be clear of enemy ZOCs. A friendly unit that did not retreat negates EZOC for this purpose. And then it talks about direction and all that. And then here it talks about overstacking, where you can avoid an overstack situation by retreating additional hexes if possible. So unfortunately, it looks like we have to quote unquote retreat this direction. And become disrupted. And then they get to advance. Well, obviously, they're going to send their big boys in there. And then this could go like this, because as long as they advance into the defender's hex, then they can proceed on from there. If they advance here, they have to stop. They could come down here to try to complete this. Then they're by themselves there, but that might be better than... Well, the other thing that does is then that cuts this guy out of supply. Because right now he can still trace. Well, can he? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he can trace supply through this way. So yeah, I think maybe this guy advances to here. I think we'll leave him with the headquarters just to kind of protect it a little bit. All right, well, that reopened our... What did it, though? Yeah, this is an impassable hex side, so I don't believe their Zoc extends into there. So they can trace... All these spots can trace down this way now through this hex. And only having to go through one hex of an Ezoc. We'll have to check. Is that may only be till they hit the road. Once they're on the road, does it have to be completely free of Ezocs? I'll have to double check that. All right, but yeah, I think that's what we'll do there. So that was a pretty decent result for the Germans. Oh, you know what though? I just realized it may not stand. Because I forgot to roll on the Jabos table. So if they roll a 4, 5, or 6, they're going to get some left shifts out of that. So let's find out. 2. All right, so we're good. No additional shifts, so that result stands. That just leaves us with this other combat here then. All right, for this other combat, we've got defense of 7. I believe we managed to get 14 in here. Or did we? No. Nope. So 4, 9. And then these guys will just be half. 10, 11. So 11 to 7, but we do have a tank shift. And we do have a troop quality shift. So it's going to be 3 to 1. And then we can boost that if we wish to 4 to 1 using supply from or support from the 2nd FJ headquarters. That will have to be a 7th Army support. So it's going to be a 4 to 1 attack. Ooh. Here's the 4. Yeah. Yep. Oh, wait a minute. I just realized something. That's a silhouetted unit. They don't get DCBs. So we're actually at 9, 10, 11. 4. Ooh, almost 3 to 1. 2 to 1 with 2 shifts makes it 4 to 1, and then artillery support to make it 5 to 1. Let's not forget to roll, excuse me, on our Jabos table. 1, so no additional shifts. So it's a 5 to 1 attack. Ooh, a 4 is going to be a D1. So they will flip. And we'll just have them retreat to here, I think. There or there. Not sure which is better. Probably gonna link them up with these guys, so maybe here for the time being. These guys want to advance. Not really. I think that would leave too much of a gap over here. We've at least got adjacent Zocs this way, even though we don't have Zoc bonds. So yeah, that was more just a little spoiling attack there. All right, I think that will do it for the German combat phase. One thing I did realize while I was paused there for a bit, and I'm not sure how long this has been the case, this unit's actually back in supply because they can trace now down through here. So, not that it makes any difference, but just for completeness and correctness, we'll go ahead and remove that. I'm sure they were definitely in supply last turn, if not earlier than that. Yeah, so I think that's going to do it for the German combat phase. No reserve movement or reserve combat recovery. We do have some disrupted units that can recover. This replacement marker comes off. There was one. Where was that? We ended up putting them at the bottom of the stack because the other units weren't disrupted. I think it was here. Nope. Here. Let's make sure we're... Oh, you know what? That was actually illegal. They can't stack together. Where did these guys come from? Up here, I think, maybe. We'll just say that one of them went here, I guess. Glad I noticed that. Oh, this should come off. I might need to review, see where we can actually, because I don't remember, was the disrupted unit already here? I know we had some units in this town. I think it might have been these two. Or no, they weren't in that town. They had come over from over here somewhere. Yeah, they'd slid over to join up with this guy. This one, I think, was here and was disrupted from that attack. Yeah, last turn. So we had these guys move over to here, and then they moved in to join them, but actually they couldn't. They can't all stack together because these are 2 stacking points each. So actually it would have been one of these that moved here to stack with this guy. The other one would have had to go like here probably. Yeah, we'll say it was that. All right. Over here we got some disrupted units that can come off. Yep, I think that's it. Then supply phase. Check supply. Everyone here is still good. We can trace back through all of this stuff. Good, good, good. This guy can trace down to here. These are all good along here. And come back this way, or that way for that matter. These guys can all trace to Cherbourg. I believe that's a valid supply source. Just double check for the Germans. Yeah, any friendly controlled Cherbourg city hex is a valid supply source for the Germans. So I did want to double check on that line of supply. So path of contiguous hexes from a unit to a supply source. It can be up to 5 hexes in length to a road, and then an unlimited length along the road via contiguous road hexes to a supply source. So that entire path cannot cross an all-sea or impassable hex side, enter an enemy-occupied hex, enter 2 consecutive. Oh, it's only 2 consecutive vacant hexes in an EZOC. Cross or enter an enemy ZOC bond. The road portion cannot enter an enemy-controlled town, city, there it is, city hex, or a vacant hex in an enemy ZOC. So yeah, actually they can't, because these towns up here, when they're tracing, they're having to go, you know, basically trace to one of these roads. And then because this one's fine because they don't project, I'm pretty sure they don't project a ZOC across the impassable hex side, but then here that does enter an EZOC. And the road portion cannot enter an EZOC. So still not quite out of the woods. Looks like as long as we can, it can't pass an empty hex in EZOC, I guess. So I wonder if maybe we should have advanced this guy into here then, because that would open that up then. Problem is I don't think I want to let maybe that'll be a problem for the next turn to deal with. If I go here, I mean, all I got to do is then move up to here, and then they're still blocking the supply. Well, then they could threaten. I mean, we might be able to cut their supply then as well, but yeah, I think just keeping them out of this area is probably more important for the time being. We'll stick with that. All right, so no one's out of supply. There's no isolation attrition, especially now that we realize that guy's no longer isolated. And there are no German IPs alone in a hex. So we move to the allied player turn. Starting with their replacement phase. We've got one armor and a whole lot of infantry replacements. I mean, obviously, here's an armor replacement we could take that we just took a hit on. What else? We've got a couple up here. Yeah, those guys need to swap positions, I believe. That's right. We pulled him out last turn because he took a replacement last turn. As far as infantry replacements, we might be back to not having anyone that can take any. Oops. I don't think we've done any. Oh, we did do an attack there last turn, I think. I think they took the hit. I'm not seeing any infantry units that need replacements. So we just got to figure out what to do with that armor. Actually, since we might need to do some shifting over here to deal with this situation now. Thinking maybe we give it to this guy. That's our armor replacement. We can't spend the infantry replacements. That takes us to... Oh, well, I almost forgot our British friends. They have an infantry replacement. We want to bring one of these infantry divisions back, or infantry brigades, back off of the track here. It looks like this is the better unit of the two. That's interesting. They're both 6'4" on the front, but this one becomes a 3'4" when it's reduced instead of a 4'4". Wonder why that is. Looks like several of them are that way. So one of them's here. That's the 4'4" unit with the third division. And I think the other one is hiding under here somewhere. Yep, there it is. And that one's with the 51st. So the 3rd division, well, the 51st is right here. So this guy belongs with these guys. The 3rd division, was that the one we swung up over here? Yeah.
Move somewhere.
I say we give it to them. They were here, right? Replacement marker. All right, so that's that. Okay, now we can go to the movement phase. I think we hit these guys again. We'll bring this one back up with their buddies. Oh, and don't forget, I think I did forget last turn, we can do one improved position as well, if we so desire, somewhere. Where was it? That was kind of weak. This might not be a bad spot for an improved position. think we're going to want to try to smack Con here again. I think we were trying to hit this spot because if we're able to advance into there, then we've got Zoc bonds. We've got these guys surrounded basically where they can't retreat. That means, though, we need some more firepower, I think. 4, 5, plus 5 is 10. If we make these guys the MAF, that's 11, which is really all we need because we can't get to 20. We go ahead and bring these guys up to join them. I think we put these guys in reserve. Thinking that if we do manage to push them out of there, then we can either, advance to here with these guys and they could move in during reserve movement, or vice versa. They could move here, they could loop around. One of the two. I think we bring, what do we got here? 9 plus 5 is 14. We got 9, 10, 11, 12 there. These guys could pitch in with half strength, so that would get us to our 14. Just wondering what to do with this guy. His buddies are right there.
Why would it be 13? 5 times 5. 5 times 5.
Maybe.
5, right? We would do that first.
How far can they move and still be placed in reserve? Reserve movement, page 17. Can only expend 1 movement point. So unfortunately they don't have a road going this way. They could go to here and still be placed in reserve. Then they'd be able to use half their movement points. Doesn't really get them any closer. I think maybe we just move them to here for now. I guess they would be able to get... Oh, wait, these guys can't. Oh, yeah, we can't go that way. We can only get across over to here. Interesting. Oh, but if whoever advances, no, they still can't. Oh, wait, yeah, you can. What am I thinking? It's a major, you can still move across it as long as you start next to it. So they could advance to there. They couldn't reserve move to there, but they could advance to there, and these guys could reserve move into there. At which point, if these guys were put here and placed in reserve, they would have 2 movement points. 1, 2. They would be able to get into there potentially. So yeah, maybe we put them in reserve as well. This guy moved. All right. Down along here, what do we want to do about this? I think maybe we want to try to keep that if we can. So I'm thinking maybe we pull back from here. We've got 6 movement points. 1, 2, 3. They could get up to like there. These guys could move back into there maybe. Let's see. Put them there. All right, I think we also then, if this guy can, if these guys can reach, they should be able to get to here. 1, 2, 3, 4. See if we can't, hem these guys in a little bit here. Oops. Excuse me, still want to try to keep that town if we can. Just move these guys kind of out of the way. Actually, they could, there's not room for them to go in there. Is they can't cross that river unless they do it along the road. So 1, I think it's 1 for infantry in woods. 2, 3, we'll put them there. Let these guys fall back to here. Keep those Zachbons going. The problem is these guys took a replacement, so now they can't. I wonder if that was a mistake. So we kind of need them to swing back too. You know what? I think I'm going to give that to somebody else. I was thinking these guys would be stationary, but I actually need them to move. Before we do that, let's make sure. See if there's anything else on the British sector that we want to adjust. I don't think so. Everything else is fine. Yeah, why don't we give this to, that was an armor replacement, right? Were we thinking about attacking here? Probably not. It'd be good to get these back up to full strength. We'll give it to them instead. All right, so now we can we want to go there, that one, although actually could we move to here and then get somebody here, we could cut them out of supply. Actually, if we could get somebody here and somebody here, we could surround them so they couldn't retreat. How do we do that? These guys, 4 is the limiting factor here. I don't know if they can make it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they can. And the tanks have 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because they cost 2 to move through woods. I don't think the hilltop. Yeah, no effect on movement. Mechanized are 2 through woods, non-mechanized are 1. So they can all make it to there. It's probably a foolish stunt by the Germans here, but we'll see what happens, how this plays out. And then these. Yeah, I think we'd be okay just moving these 2 by themselves over to here. Because they're behind a river, so even though they're only 4 strength, their main job is to just cut them off, or they can't retreat back up this way or move back up that way. Let's see, these are 2 silhouetted units too, so they don't get the DCBs, so they're just 10. There's 11, so yeah, these guys can do that. And I think as long as we at least get a DR result, they'll be forced to do a determined defense, and then if that fails, I think they can then do a desperation defense, since they would be eliminated if they had to retreat. They're both 2-steppers. All right, let's see. Guess in hindsight, maybe a better use of them would have been to send them up over here to help keep the British out of Lisieux, but oh well. We decided to try to be tricky. Looks like it's not going to work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're in range of this headquarters, so that's fine. Wonder if we should pull this guy back to here, just to, at least then we at least have adjacent Zocs to prevent anything from moving up through this way. If they decide to get cutesy again. Yep, I think that's a pretty good response to that. Now we also have some more tank destroyers here that we brought in last turn. See where we can get them to. Ideally down into this vicinity, I think. Or do we want to rush them over here to help out with this? Maybe at least one of them. Let's see, so they can go 12 if they use strategic movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will get them to there. That's about as close as they can get. sure we're not off camera over here. I guess first let's see what we're going to do with this stuff. I think these guys... We want to move them to there. Probably. Because that way they can't retreat this way if they wanted to. They still got an out up there. I would force them to go that way or that way. So yeah, I think we bring them here. They can't attack. So at least provide some blocking there. Problem is we can't get to this hex other than right here, and then it's across a river. Everybody's halved. Maybe instead we go here, because if we occupy this hex, then we get a Zokbon to there, and that still cuts the peninsula. Yeah, I think we move them here. These guys to here. That does a Zokbond there with those. We got this big boy up here that needs to get into the action. He can go 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we park him here or here. I guess here gives us those adjacent Zokbonds, or adjacent Zoks, which not as good as a bond, but better than leaving a gap. And I think maybe we send him over with them. We can get one of these tank destroyers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 to there. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.5. Either way, using strategic movement. Make sure we know it's just that unit. That will make them susceptible to... I'll give the Germans a column shift if they decide to attack their next turn, but that's all right. Yeah, then this other one, I guess maybe we can... We could technically move him in here as well. Just to boost that a little bit more. Give us some more forces to try to keep this peninsula cut off. So assuming we do take this, the next turn, the Germans are gonna obviously probably move these guys down and counterattack to try to push us back off of there. Yeah. Yeah, I think down here is just kind of a sideshow at this point. I think we need to focus on keeping as much strength in here as possible. So I think both of these, is it a strat move marker? I think it's a strat move marker per unit. I don't think they can both utilize one marker even if they move together. I could be wrong. Strategic movement. Oh, actually, they are mechanized. Okay, good. Non-mechanized units can't use strategic movement. I just noticed. That's why the Germans have a truck marker. We do not. But those are both mechanized units, so let's move entirely along roads. Restrictions. Units that use stream may start stacked with other units but are under the following restrictions. Oh, that's right. You can't end stacked with a unit if you use strategic. Forgot about that. May not start their move adjacent to an enemy or move adjacent to an enemy. May not end their move stacked with any unit. So yeah, we can only get them in the vicinity. So in that respect then, since we were only really getting half a, actually they couldn't go this way. They would have had to come down this way. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. They can get to there with a regular movement, so I think we'll do that just so that or I think they can get to there with regular movement as well. Let me check that. If that's the case, we can actually leave these guys here. And then 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Yeah, let's do that. They're kind of weak there, but at least we get Zoc bonds now. All right, that's better. Let's see, up here we might as well take advantage of these guys pulling back a little bit and move up, close that gap. Same here. They're entrenching. What do we got here? 4, 5, 6. Plus 4 is 10. Only got 9. And we're across a river. I don't think. Does attacking along a road across a river negate that? Yeah, it doesn't say anything about the existence of a road negating that penalty for attacking across a river hex side. So this is probably not happening here unless we brought some more reinforcements down. And technically these guys could probably get, they'd still be on the other side of the river there though. There's no way for them to get. I mean, there's a path. I don't think they have enough movement to do that. Not with 4. I do feel like we should keep hitting Cherbourg here. So we'll do that. So they've got, what do they got now? 2, 4, 5. They only get 4 DCBs because this doesn't count. So they're at 9. So if we could get 18, that would be a 2-to-1 attack. So math here. All right, all 3 of these units are the same division. So yeah, we definitely can get 18. 6, 12, 16, 19. Because this guy will be halved. So we'll definitely do that attack at initial odds of 2-to-1. And this is across a river. We need to get them out of there so we can get up here and attack them from not across the river. Same thing here, across the river. Although these guys are only... Ooh, these guys don't get the DCB benefit. Oh, they still got 3 though. 3, 4, 5 plus 3 is 8. We've got 13. We'd really want to get to 16 at least for that. Maybe here. 5, 6, 7, 8 plus 4 is 12. This is a cadre though. Yeah, this is where we're really weak with all these cadre units. Yeah. Yeah, we're just holding there. We're not doing any attacking. This one, well, definitely here. We've got 3 plus 3 is 6. We've got, shoot, can't get a full strength attack here, unfortunately, with everybody. 6, so 10, 11, 12. Is that enough? 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, yeah. Because this guy halved would be 2. So, yeah, we got just enough for a 2-to-1. Can't remember if they moved or not. But we'll definitely hit that. Unfortunately, that headquarters there prevents us from getting a troop quality shift. Armor shift, though. That'll be good. Here, I think we're just holding. Do we want to smack this guy around? Let's see. Be halved, but we're still, he's at 4, 7. We'd have 3, 6, 7. So it'd be 1-to-1 with tank shift. I think you still get tank shift across Minor River. Minor River, tank shift possible, yes. Okay. So yeah, we'll do that. Right, 4, 7. We're halved. 3, 6, 7. Yeah, 1-to-1. No attacks along here, I don't think. And do we want to try to hit St. Lo again? Well, definitely we're attacking here with the Americans. What do we got for a main assault force? Oh, good. These are both the same divisions. These will all be full strength, 14, 15, 16. They're at 10, so that'll be fine. It'll be a 1-to-1 attack. No tank shift, no troop quality though. Probably get a little support on that one. Yeah, what about St. Lo? What do they got in there now? I think we attacked their last turn and softened them up a little bit. Or maybe not. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus 5 is 16. Actually, you know what? I don't think we did. I think we got an A1 result on this. 16, and we've got, yeah. So we got the 1st infantry there. Okay, yeah, this would be our main assault force. So that's 12, 15. And then with these guys, and I guess we could put some of them in reserve. We would need one more, I think. We have 15. I think I said they have 16. 1, 2, 4, 7, 11, plus 5 is 16, yeah. So we would need this guy to participate as well. But then the other 2 could be put in reserve. That might be what we did last time too, and then this guy ended up having to get flipped. So yeah, we'll try that again, I guess. A little more support available this time. Alrighty. I think that's gonna do it. Except, almost forgot our reinforcements. At this point, I'm thinking we just want shifts. So let's see. I think is it 3 points for a supply point? Excuse me. So we could just take 2 supply points for our reinforcements. Let's see, it's right here. Yeah, 3 RPs brings in a U.S. regiment, a CW infantry / motorized brigade, a cadre, or a supply point. You can bring cadre in as reinforcements. Interesting. Don't think I ever realized that. So would that be like bringing back? I don't think you can bring back an infantry unit. Does that mean actually bringing one of these cadre markers in by themselves? Or does that mean bringing a reduced unit back from the cadre box? That's interesting. At this point in the game, I don't think it's going to matter. But yeah, we're going to just, at least for the US, we're just going to load up on supply points. For the British, I don't think I'm allowed to attack these guys with the US units and then attack them again with the British units on the same turn. I think there's something about units only being able to be attacked once. Maybe not, though. I'll have to check on that, because that might be worth doing. Let the Americans soften them up for us, and then we come in and try to finish them off. We want to attack here for sure. with the British. Pretty sure that's just going to be a 1-to-1. I've got 4, 5, 10. So yeah, we can't get to 2-to-1. And there's not going to be any troop quality or armor shift available there. I think we were talking about hitting this again as well. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe even on the British side, I think we got enough forces on the map to do what we're trying to accomplish. So I think maybe we just take those as shifts as well. See if we can just pound them into the ground here. I guess I should check the odds here first. No tank shift. No troop quality, because I don't think we have any pluses on our side here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for the rough or the mixed terrain. So we need 16 to get to 2-to-1. If these guys have it all by themselves, they do indeed. So we'll be attacking 2-to-1. That means these guys can be replaced in reserve because they didn't move at all. All right. Yeah, let me just double check on that, whether they could do like a follow-up attack there. Most games you can't do that sort of stuff, so. Yeah, that's what I thought. No unit may attack or be attacked more than once per combat phase. Now, they can be attacked again in the reserve phase, but these guys moved too far to be able to be put in reserve. So, all right. So we'll go with that. Do we want to try anything else down here with the British? Try to tighten the noose a little more. I guess if we do manage to get that and are able to cut these guys off, it would be good to, potentially do some attacks here as well. These guys have 9 plus 5 is going to be 14. Only got 12 there. These guys could pitch in though. So that's a potential there as well. Or we could do here, which is 5, 9, 10, 15. We've got 8, 12. They've got enough right there all on their own. So yeah, these two stacks can attack here. This stack can attack there. So that's a possibility as well. Oops. Okay. We're done with movement. Everybody straightened up. attack here. 12, 14 against 11. Tank shift at least. No troop quality shift. That might be worth doing too. We'll mark it. Definitely not there. All right, I think that's it. Okay. That will bring us to the Allied combat phase. All right, so let's look at the British side first here. Ooh, knocking the camera over. So we've got a total of 7 shifts available. I think we want to give this at least 1. Take it up to, I think I already, no, there is no other shifts. Yeah, so that's just the straight up combat odds is 2 to 1 on this one, right? We get no other shifts, so we give them 1 shift. We'll make it a, I don't think they can use, they're not in range of a headquarters. I suppose we should probably move this guy over here. At least then he can support attacks on that. So it'll have to be an air shift we give to them. Make that 3 to 1. Let's roll it up. Ooh, 6. 3 to 1, 6 is a D1. All right. Wow. I think we take it on the negative troop quality unit, right? They're going to have to retreat or attempt a determined defense. Determined defense doesn't look good. That would... I don't think Warfare Brigades can be the lead unit, so we'd be looking at probably flipping, if it held, flipping this guy, and then they've got no Zoc. So I think they got to do the retreat. I think they retreat to here. That at least keeps adjacent Zocs there. So we could advance. There's no way to get into here, unfortunately. We can advance here to here. Does that leave us too exposed? Advance here. These guys could move up to here in the reserve movement phase and then hit them again. They'd be at 6 strength now. We've got 12, so that would be a 2 to 1 attack. So I'm thinking maybe these guys just go... Well, they can't advance directly to there, but I think if they advance here, as long as they enter the defender's hex, then they can advance. Their second hex can be in an EZOC. So we do that. Problem is that leaves this route open for them to boogie into there on the last turn, try to take that town back from us. Maybe we just don't advance. we don't advance. Okay. Oh, and then these guys become disrupted. Ooh, I think that's going to give them a shift as well, isn't it? Or no, they don't get a... That's right. There's no penalty for being disrupted while you're defending. Nope. Just strategic movement. All right. So then con. Different con. All right. Well, we want to do this one first, because if that succeeds, we'll be able to seal these guys off. So I'm thinking this one's pretty key. I'm thinking we give it 3 shifts, 2 artillery shifts, and an air support. Bump that to 4-1. Let's do that. And that was, I think, just a stack, right? These guys are in reserve. How? Wait a minute, how are we doing this again? They've got 4, 5, 10. Yeah, I think it was this guy, these guys with, ooh, we get the, oh, we don't get the troop quality, darn it, I forgot. Yeah, we'll make the 6th Airborne with the 3rd Canadian attached for a total of 11. And then these guys throw in a couple more for good measure. So 13 on 10. And then the 3 shifts from artillery and air. Makes it a 4-1. Well, at least it's not an exchange. DR. So they are going to have to attempt a determined defense. I mean, they don't have to, but they're going to. They will make that 1 strength unit the lead. So they get a +1 from that. And then they only have, unfortunately, Fortress Cherbourg supply points left. I thought I gave them a 7th Army. I think I blew it on the something. What did I use that on? I don't remember now. Anyway, so all they get is a +1, but they are on the Strongpoint City column. So basically anything other than a 1, they will hold. All right. So I get a 5, which becomes a 6. An attacker loss. Yikes. And attacker's choice. Okay, so I choose the unit that takes the loss. Don't want the airborne. I guess this guy. Well, that didn't work out so well. That only leaves us with 3 shifts left for these other attacks. I think we want to pour all of them into one of them. So which one would we rather do? actually, if this succeeds, they'll have to retreat out this way. That gives us the ability to advance to here with them. And if we include these guys in the attack, so I think we don't do this one. That's going to allow us to actually, I'm trying to think. If we get somebody there, actually, we don't even need them to advance. So if we do manage to push them out, they'd have to go here because that's the only place they can go and not end up in Ezok. And then we can advance into their hex and then also advance to here, which not only claims that city hex and this town hex, but then also forms a wall around those two units where they can't go anywhere. So yeah, I think we do that. We'll pump the rest of our shifts into that attack. So 2 artillery shifts and an air support. To bump that up to 4-1. Hopefully we get better than just a DR. So 4-1. 3. Oh, much better. Nope, still just a DR. So they will do a determined defense. Do they have a +1 unit? They do. So they'll make this guy the lead. So again, anything but a 1. And the retreat is canceled. Hopefully they roll low enough where we don't have to take a loss this time. Whew, no, they did not. So that becomes a 7, which is 7 plus is an attacker loss again. Oh boy. Let's see why they had so much trouble with Khan. I think again we take it on this silhouetted unit. All right. Looks like it's going to be up to the Americans to keep this peninsula or recut the peninsula and keep it that way. I guess let's do this. Now let's do the key stuff first. Excuse me. So we got 2-1 initial odds, but then we have a tank shift, which is going to give us 3-1. Just double check that again. 3, 4, 5, 6, and we have 12 because these are the math. 10 plus half of this is 12. So the tank shift's going to make it 3-1. 3 on here somewhere. Again, we have 7 shifts available. Probably want to give a couple to Cherbourg, the attack on Cherbourg. Yeah, I want to guarantee. Pretty much guarantee pushing them out of there. 3-1. Well, I mean, yeah, 5-1 gets us to where they definitely would have to retreat or determine defense. So I think we do 2 shifts here. 1 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are in range of this headquarters here. Should we have moved that? Probably should have. Why don't we put that right there? So we'll do 1 air and 1, which I guess, are there any that aren't in range of a headquarters? Looks like St. Lo is not. Just wondering if we should save our air for the cases where we don't have artillery support. We can get 2 shifts from the artillery, so why don't we just go ahead and do that. So that's going to take this to 5 to 1, which will guarantee at least a DR and no chance of an exchange. Three. Could have got that juicy A1D2 result too if we'd rolled a 6. 3 is an A1D1. That's probably, other than the A1D2, I think that's the best result we could have gotten. So they're going to have to lose, do they lose their headquarters, or do they lose the unit on top of it? I think we got to keep the headquarters around, right? We will lose. Take a step on the silhouetted unit. All right, they have to retreat 2 hexes, so they got to go back this way somewhere, probably back into this town, I'm thinking. They could do a 1 hex retreat, I guess. We're just going to go here and stop because that still cuts things. And they probably want to get further away, to be honest. Disrupted. We advance into here, recut the peninsula. Actually, like that, I think it still was technically cut because they couldn't get past this, and now they definitely can't get past this road that we're parked on. All right, why don't we do the Cherbourg attack next? We're going to give it 2 shifts, I think. We'll use an air and an artillery. Just bump those down off camera there. So that's going to take it to 4 to 1. We get no tank shift. Do we get troop quality? Nope, that strong point's at 0. That's probably what we should get rid of next. So they only have -2 quality units. So this is going to be a 4 to 1 attack. And again, that's with all of these units, I believe. Yeah, because we needed everybody involved to get to that initial 2 to 1 odds. So 4 to 1. Oh, 1. Jeez, that's an exchange. Come on. Well, at least we get to get rid of that strong point now. They will say this unit takes a hit. So they go to the cadre. And that severely weakens us for next turn. Cherbourg and Con, they just don't want to give those up. All right, well, we got 4 more attacks that we've marked. I think of those, this is probably the one we want to focus on the most, just because we have these guys surrounded. So if we can force them to retreat, we'll have to resort to a determined, determined defense, and if that fails, then a desperation defense. I don't think we've seen one of those yet. So, all right. I think we probably want to give them 2 shifts. That'll leave us with 1 that we can maybe try to hit St. Lo, or probably try to push these guys back. Yeah, because we get a tank shift here too, so that's really going to be a 2-to-1 attack. We could boost it to 3-to-1 with only 1 shift. All right, so we're going to use our last supply point for an artillery shift, and then also use an air shift to make this a 3-to-1 attack. There we go. 3-to-1 6 is a D1. We have to flip one of these. And now for determined defense, they're in a town, which is other. And then they will make their, these are just 2-steppers, right? Yeah, they don't get to be replaced by a cadre. So we'll make the full strength unit the lead unit in the determined defense. No troop quality on that. Can we get, actually, you know what? No. I was thinking maybe we could draw supply from Cherbourg coming down along through here, but number 1, there's no roads that connect down in this region. And also we have them cut off anyway, so they won't be able to get any defensive support for this. It's just going to be a straight roll on the other column. So they need a 5 or a 6. They do not get it. So since they have at least 2 steps, and if they are forced to retreat, the stack would be eliminated. They are able to, I think I got those preconditions right. They are able to attempt a desperation defense. Let's take a look at this since we haven't seen this yet. If the defender fails his determined defense roll, he may do a desperation defense, but only if the unit or stack contains at least 2 steps. It does. It has 3 steps. And the stack will be eliminated if it retreats. It will, because it has no path of retreat. It's surrounded by Zachbons. Desperation defense is not allowed against DH and A1D. 2 results. That was not the case. And then here's where some amendments have been made to the wording on this based on a recent BGG post. At least 1 step used for the desperation defense must come from a unit qualified to be the lead unit in the initial determined defense. Desperation defense is not allowed if insufficient steps are available. A desperation defense automatically cancels the retreat and the advance after combat. So the procedure is, after declaring the desperation defense, the defender removes 2 steps from the hex under attack and remains in place. The defender picks the first step, which must come from a unit qualified to be the lead unit in the initial determined defense, and the attacker picks the other step. Any unit in the defender's hex is eligible to receive this step loss. That means the one that the attacker picks, including strong points, HQs, warfare brigades, and disrupted units. If the stack contained only 2 steps, then both are removed and the attacker receives a limited advance. All right, so basically we lose 2 steps. The defender picks the first one, which has to come from a unit that could have participated in the determined defense. So in this case, it doesn't really matter. They're going to end up being down to 1. So they pick this as the first step. I pick this as the other step. They're left with this. Anyway, you slice it. Because these are, well, I guess technically, I didn't realize this. One has a higher armor rating, so I guess we would pick this as the first step, and then the allies will pick this as the second step, which leaves us with the slightly better unit. Okay. And it doesn't say they become disrupted, so I don't think that happens since they didn't have to retreat. But they're pretty much dead in the water there. Any other retreat results that will, unless they can succeed in a determined defense, will eliminate them. But even if they succeed in a determined defense, I guess technically if they had a +1, if they were able to get artillery support and rolled a 6, then they could potentially survive. Just double checking on that. Desperation defense. Yeah, it says nothing about becoming disrupted. All right, that leaves us with 1 shift, which I think we said we were going to use here. Yeah, because we've got initial odds of 1 to 1, because they're at 7. We can get to 7 by having all of our units. And then we do get the tank shift, so that takes it to 2 to 1. And then our final air support shift will make it 3 to 1. Now 3 to 1, 4 is a DR. They will take that retreat, 1 hex retreat into the bocage, and become disrupted. Do we wish to advance? I would say yes. That still maintains our Zoc bonds. No, it doesn't. That's not our unit. Does it help these guys, though? Actually, if they could have retreated there, they could have cut our supply, I think, but they cannot. The other option is we could advance into the defender's hex and then to there. Is that what we want to do? Or do we want to just stay where we're at? do we think these guys are going to do next turn? They've got 16 strength. They could do, and they get a +1 troop quality. They could do a 2-to-1 attack against these guys. If we had to retreat, they can move these guys up to here next turn. The advantage of being here is that breaks the Zoc bond then if they happen to move here. Would that give us a path to retreat though? I don't think so, because you have to... The first text of the retreat has to be not in EZOC, so I think that would force them to go there. I think we're fine just being there. Actually, I guess if we're here, we do form Zoc bonds this way then. And then this guy's in our Zoc bond, so, but still. And actually, these guys are going to be out of supply now. Well, no matter how you slice it, whether we're here or here, they're out of supply. That's going to severely hamper their offensive capabilities next turn. Yeah, I think we advance here to here. Keep the pressure on. Come on. Have to make sure they aren't able to open a path up through here somewhere, but I don't think they can. Not very easily. All right, so we're not going to do that attack. Not going to do that attack on St. Lo because we're out of shifts. That takes us to reserve movement in combat, which we weren't able to exploit here in Con, so I think these guys aren't doing anything. I guess technically we could use this opportunity though to, so they get half their movement points, so they could go 1, 2 to there. And these guys could go 1, 2 to there, basically replenish them with a full strength unit. They could then do an attack, but just by themselves. I don't think we want to do that. So that's all we'll do there. Over here, though, I think we want to move into here and attack that unit again. So they have 4, 5, 6, and we've got 12. So 2-to-1, no tank shift, unfortunately. Just a straight up 2-to-1 attack. Oops. Oh, you know what I just realized again? That when I was being dumb in these determined defenses on Con, I could have gotten defensive shift from the Warfare Brigade. Didn't need it, but I think that's twice in a row now I've forgotten about that. Yeah, it's just going to be a straight 2-to-1 attack. See if we can get lucky here. Nope. 2-to-1, 2 is an A1 DR. Whoops. I think we take it here. they have to, come on. I don't think they have the option to, I don't think, come on, I keep knocking this cup of dice over. I don't think they have the option to do a determined defense since they're disrupted. Let me double check that. I don't think they're going to anyway, but determined defense. Lead unit. Yeah, disrupted units cannot be the lead unit in a determined defense, and therefore they cannot make one. I think maybe they go cozy up to the headquarters over here. Oh wait, they can't do that. Or yeah, they can. That's not an EZOC. So yeah, they'll retreat over to here with the headquarters. We will advance into Lisieux. That can come off now. All right. Why this thing's so front heavy all of a sudden? Try adjusting the legs a little bit. Okay, that's it for that's right. I was saying these guys are out of supply, so it's going to hurt their offensive capability next turn, but they don't have to check for supply until after their combat phase. So allied recovery phase, replacement markers can come off. Come on. Disrupted markers can come off. Just that one. I think that's it. Check supply. I think we're all good. These guys can get, they only have to go through one hex there. Everyone else here is fine. Either this way or one hex through an EZOC. Either way is good there. These guys got a clear path. I mean, this negates their ZOC for the purposes of tracing supply. But even if not, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then they can get back to their beach. Ooh, actually, you know what? Have I been doing this wrong this whole time? I think I may have. Now that I remember that reading that bit about the road portion cannot go through a vacant EZOC hex. So have these guys all been out of supply this whole time? Because we didn't have a unit here to negate their EZOC. Because that's the only way back to the beach is across that bridge. That looks like a major blunder. Well, I can't say about for previous turns, but at least for this turn, I guess what I could have done to alleviate that was, I think this guy was here in reserve. He has 2 movement points, so he could go 1, 2, 1.5 into there to reestablish that supply line. Yeah, that was a big no-no on my part. I mean, had I known, I think I could have covered that somehow. Had I realized it, I should say. Yeah, so kind of too late to go back and fix that, other than that fix right there for the current turn. So apologies there. Glad I discovered that. Something to be on the lookout for as you're doing operations over here on the other side of this, what is that, the Orne River? Is you got to make sure you keep that hex occupied to maintain your supply line. All right, so over here, I think this guy's fine because he can go trace through here and then get to a road. All this stuff's okay. Nothing really changed up there. So yeah, I think we're good now, supply-wise. Yeah, I'll probably go back through some of the previous episodes where that actually should have been a supply issue and at least make a note of it in the pinned comment. So people are aware of that mistake. Let's see. No isolation attrition. No allied IPs alone in hex. So no desired airborne withdrawals. No automatic victory. On to, finally, the final turn. And again, I forgot to flip that over for the allies' turn. Yeah, so that's going to just about bring this series to a close. We got one more turn to go. I think the ally will go over all of the current state of the victory points and all that at the beginning of next turn, just so we make sure we're on the right track. But I believe as it stands now, the allies are in a winning position as long as they can maintain it through this final turn. So we'll see what happens. But I'd like to thank everyone for watching. If you stuck it out this far, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. It'll help out. Leave a comment. Could have used some comments earlier pointing out that mistake in the supply route there, line of supply. And then, yeah, share it with your friends if you know someone that might be interested in this type of video. I'd appreciate it. And other than that, I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye for now.